Hello, I'm with Peter Reddingheis, who is a facilitator, coach, an entrepreneur probably, and I'd like to just ask you a few questions about your job, your role, and how you see things transforming. A quick question about technology. Can you see how technology has changed the way people communicate with each other, share with each other? Can you see a difference that technology's made?
I see a massive difference, and I see it has had a massive impact on the issues, or the people issues that it is that we get to deal with. I know people that have started dating, proposed marriages over things like SMS and Facebook. Some of my best friends got together through something like internet dating. So the world has changed a lot through technology. How we interact intimately, how we interact broadly. I'm connected to people I would never otherwise have been connected with through Facebook.
That's true, and you stay connected to
Absolutely.
them,
I know what's happening in my friends' lives and people I knew from school who I haven't actually physically spoken to for 20 years. I know what the kids look like. I know what they had for breakfast.
It makes the world
some of them post like that.
Yes, yeah, but it makes the world a much smaller place, I was about to say.
It does, absolutely. And I think there's a greatness that comes with that, and there's a huge amount of risk that comes with that. I've dealt with a lot of people, for example, who are depressed because they see everyone else's perfect life on Facebook, but what they don't see is all the things that are not posted. Those kinds of challenges that come up. People sort of don't call their wife to say how they're doing, they post it on Facebook. So there's a lot of let's call it traditional human interaction that's lost through technology. And
that's a good point actually, because you don't, in Facebook particularly, you don't see the negatives. You don't get to hear or see or feel, or it is all very bright and positive, and isn't it wonderful?
Yes, well, you do get some people that just post doom and gloom, and they're looking for some sympathy, and they've got a wider audience now to get it. But by and large, it's a picture of how awesome can I paint the picture of my life.
Yes, it's funny, isn't it? So in your job, how's that transformed things for you?
Well, number one is obviously in my business, I get to communicate with people through those mediums. And I get to deal with new issues that arise as a result of those mediums.
So probably a lot easier.
Yes, a lot easier. I mean, it creates opportunities, and it's one way to interact with people. It's one way to make people aware of things. If one's running public events or doing anything to that effect, it's a nice way to pull people in. It's a nice way to get a quick response. It's very, very useful. But I do think it is having an impact on society, and the opportunities, especially in my space, is helping people deal with that.
Yes. And we've spoken a lot about Generation Y, and it's leaving us oldies behind in many ways. So it's a different way of looking at the world in many ways.
It's a different way of engaging with the world.
So, in your role, how has it transformed? How has things transformed for you? Will it change in the future? Do you see things coming down, going up?
I think it definitely will. I mean, one thing that's already coming up in the industry is people are starting to develop apps. There's happiness apps, there's anti-stress apps, there's all these different ways of engaging and interacting with people through technology, which are designed to ultimately help people. Again, in my opinion, is the risk of that is we are getting less and less of that human interaction. And it's becoming more and more of a comfort zone to interact with machines.
Which is a shame.
Well, yes, it is. I think there's a different aspect of humanity, of family, of community that's lost, even though it is giving birth to new communities and a new type of family and a different way of doing things.
So it sort of balances out, doesn't it?
Well, I don't know if it's a balance. I just think they're both very different.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I was at a concert recently, and probably 80% of the concerts were texting during, while you're waiting. Yes. So that whole conversation face to face, they're probably texting each other. It was quite weird.
I've been at social gatherings where there's 10 people sitting in a conversation and 2 people within the conversation are texting each other as side commentary.
Strange. The world is changing. So, last question for you. What do you think drives human behaviour?
Gosh, very, very big question. Ultimately, it's our belief systems. Ultimately, it's our comfort zones. It's where we feel safe, and it's our belief. It's what we believe. It's how we approach this world, which determines how we feel. So what we know is what's comfortable for us, and that is what drives it. So the younger generation is obviously used to this new technology. It's become part of how they grew up. It's natural. It's normal. When I visit my parents and I walk in and I take my phone out, my dad wants to throw something at me. Because
you're rude.
I'm
You're
being
rude.
rude. I'm being disrespectful. I'm not honouring people, real people's presence.
That's right.
And as much as I believe what he believes, there's still part of me that's just become used to this technology-driven world. And I mean, it's uncommon for people to go to the toilet now without their mobile phone.
Yes.
It's not even downtime anymore.
No, that's true.
So it's
You never switch off, do you?
Yes. So it is having a big impact on us as people, and I think just like there's a progression in the world, and what's happening is that people are becoming more and more moving into the space of needing to manage things in their life, and how I interact with technology is yet another thing we're going to have to learn to manage.
That's very true. It's just another tick in a box,
Yes.
isn't it? Peter, thank you.
Super, thank you. It's been great.